Hi, this is Mr. West, and today we're doing a Khan Academy tutorial on intercepts from a table. This was a special request from the Chatha family, so thanks again for making a request. And if you have your own request, make sure to leave a comment in the comment section below. So in this Khan Academy, what we need to do is decipher from the table how to create equations and then find points on those equations. So for this, essentially what we have here is we have this X and Y table, and those are just points. So I'm going to pull up this diagram here. This X and Y essentially is just referring to different points. So we could label this as -36, negative 117. And that's a coordinate. That's our X, that's our Y, and that's a point. Okay, so if this is a line, and it's saying this is a line, then it follows a pattern. It follows the slope, and you can use that information on the slope to find other points. Now, you see here that I have y equals mx plus b. That's kind of the general slope-intercept form, where a key piece of information is that slope. So slope over here is defined as y2 minus y1 divided by x2 minus x1. Now, we just need to get an idea of where our slope is going. And to do that, I'm going to pick 2 points here. So I have 3 to choose from. I'm going to choose these two. So these two that I'm kind of labeling like right there. And I'm going to call the top one -27, -98. I'm going to call that one x1, y1. Very important that you call them x and y, and then they also have to have the same number. So this can't be like a 2 and a 1. They have to match, okay? So another common mistake I see is people do this. They go x1, x2 like that. That's no good because those are two x's. So make sure you have an x and a y and that the numbers are the same. So we'll call this point x2, y2. All right, now we're ready to plug in those points into our slope equation. So I have y2 is -79. Kind of some strange numbers here, but you know, it happens. -98. Very important that I put minus here. Take a look. Okay, that's going to turn into a plus in just a second. Divided by x2 is -18 minus a -27. So I'm just going to go over here. I'm just going to use a calculator to make this go a little bit faster. So we have plus 98. If I wanted to rewrite this, it would look like this. Just so you know, I put -79 plus 98. A lot of the mistakes I see happen in this step where people are just incorrectly putting negatives and positives. So in the top, I get positive 19. And in the bottom, I get positive 9. So I have 19 over 9. Which is a really kind of ugly slope, but that's what it is. So that's what we got to work with. Let's proceed from there. So now that we have our slope, we can plug that into our slope-intercept equation. So 19 over 9 x plus our y-intercept, which we don't know. Okay, so we need to find our y-intercept. Now, in order to find our y-intercept, what you can do, there's a couple different ways to do it. I really like using point slope form, but I think for the sake of this video, it's probably going to be the most simple to show the other way that's more common. So we need to find our y-intercept, this value right here. So we're going to label it with a variable because we don't know it, and I'm going to label it with a b, okay? Now I have an x and a y that I essentially have 3 variables. I have this x, this y, and that b, okay? So I need to get rid of 2 of those variables. To do that, I can pick one of my points. I'm just going to pick this one right here. I'm going to pick this one, and I'm going to plug in this x for this x over here, -18. And I'm going to pick this y to plug in for that y right there. Now, I can't mix and match. I can't like choose that y and that x. You can't do that. It has to be an x and a y from the same point. Essentially, what you're doing here is you're plugging in a point that's on the line to solve for the missing variable, okay? So now I do -18 times 19 over 9. You could use a calculator here. I'm going to simplify a little bit. I know that's going to reduce to 2. So I have 19 times -2 plus b equals -79. So now I do 19 times -2, and I get -38 plus b equals -79. And now I have to add 38 to both sides to get the b by itself. So I have -79 plus 38. It's going to be a negative, and it's going to give me -41. Okay, so now that I have my y-intercept, I have my complete equation, which is y equals 19 over 9 x plus, oh, sorry, it could put a minus. I could put a plus a negative 41. I'm just going to put minus 41. So what do you do from here? Now that we have our equation, it's asking what is the y-intercept of the line. I probably should have led with that, but we're asking for the y-intercept of the line. The y-intercept is just where the value of y when x equals 0. And that's what we found here. Okay, so I could show you what that looks like by plugging in 0 for x. Okay, so the y-intercept is always a point where the x is 0. So I can plug in 0 here, y equals 19 over 9 times 0 minus 41. But b essentially is our y-intercept too, and you're going to see why that works out. Well, you have 0 times that, that's going to be out. So we have y equals negative 41. You see that we solve for y, it's negative 41. And that, whoops, I wrote 44. And you see that's what we got from b. b is the y-intercept, so we're going to put 0 minus 41, and we're going to be done. So kind of a tougher problem just because all these big, weird negatives, normally they're not like that. And we're on to the next one. Okay, this table gives a few pairs of a line in the coordinate plane. Again, these numbers are horrible. What is the x-intercept? Okay, so this one's a little bit different, but same process we're going to follow here. Okay, so we're going to do y equals mx plus b. I'm going to go a little bit faster this time. We have, I always label first x1, y1, x2, y2. So I'm going to do y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1, and this is going to be my slope. So I have 12 minus 18. Then we have negative 54 minus a negative 74. So I get negative 6 in the top. And in the bottom, I get, looks like just positive 20, right? Yeah, positive 20. I like reducing it when possible. You can divide both the top and bottom by 2 here. So we get negative 3 over 10. Right. Y equals negative 3 over 10 x plus b. We need to find our y-intercept. Okay, because we need this whole equation. I know we're trying to find the x-intercept, but we need this equation first before we can find the x-intercept. And that involves finding the y-intercept, the b. All right, so I'm going to plug in a point here. I'm going to choose this negative 54, 12 just because it's smaller numbers. So we have 12 equals negative 3 over 10 times negative 54 and then plus b. Okay. Boy, this is, I know why this one was requested now. This is a tough kind of caveat. Lots of steps here. So I'm trying to think the best order to go in. I'm just going to do 54. I'm almost wanting to do this in decimal form. Let's go ahead and do that. So I'm just going to multiply this first. It's going to be a positive, so I have 54 divided by 10. Okay, and then times 3. And that gives me 16.2. Positive 16.2. I could put that in fraction form too. I'm going to just roll with decimals here because we'll just see how that goes. I'm going to subtract 16.2 from both sides now. And I get negative 4.2 equals b. There's our y-intercept. So my new equation is y equals negative 3 over 10. I should probably put that as a decimal. Might as well at this point. X plus, whoop, another minus, sorry, minus 4.2. Okay, so from here, I need to plug in, I'm trying to find the x-intercept. So that means where y equals 0. So I'm going to plug in, so 0, oh, sorry, it should be, there we go, fix it. Okay, so we're trying to find our x, so y is going to be 0. So I'm going to plug in 0 for y. X we're going to try to solve for, and then let's go from there. So I'm going to add 4.2 to both sides. Let me erase this. Okay, so plus 4.2. 4.2 equals negative 0.3x. So I'm going to do 4.2 divided by 0.3, and we get 14. Okay, but it's a negative 14 because we divided by negative 0.3. And a positive divided by a negative is going to be a negative. So we have negative 14, comma, 0 as our x-intercept. So it worked out in the end. It was kind of weird on the way there, but we got it. All right, check it. Let's move on. This table gets a few points. Same deal. What is the y-intercept? Y-intercepts are going to be a little bit easier just because we don't have to take that additional step. We just have to solve for b. So we're going to just label our points first. x1, y1, x2, y2. Always label first. So now we have negative 78. That's my y2 minus my y1, negative 65, over positive 68 minus 51. Right. So let's go from there. 78 with the 65, we get negative 13. Okay, and again, I'm changing that to a plus in case you're wondering. Okay, it stays negative. Then I have 68 minus 51, and that should give me 17. Ugh, these slopes are terrible. So we have y equals negative 13 over 17 times x plus b. So we're trying to solve for that b. So I'm going to plug in points. I'm going to plug in, I've been choosing these bottom ones. I'm just going to plug in these ones this time. I'm going to show you that you can plug in either one. So I'm going to plug in this negative 52. I'm going to plug in this positive 34. And we have negative 13 over 17. You can change this to decimal form too, but you can see this one's a little bit more friendly because 34 cancels with the 17. You're going to have negative 13 times 2 plus b. That's the times, not 0.2. Negative 52. So this gives me negative 26 plus b, negative 52. And then I add 26 to both sides. And that should give me negative 26. So negative 26 equals b. And that's going to be my y-intercept. So I can put negative 26 and then 0 for x. So 0 and then negative 26. So y-intercepts are a little bit easier than these x-intercepts. And of course it ends with a, hey, but at least it's all positive. Look, no negative numbers. So there we go. Got something going our way. x1, y1, x2, y2. 72. You know what? I don't know why I keep choosing these bottom ones. I'm going to choose different x2, y2. I'm going to choose x2, y2 right here. There we go. So let's erase this. Just some smaller numbers, you know. So I have 36 minus 54 in the top, and then over 22 minus 27. Really should have put the other one. It doesn't matter. We're going to get negative over negative. It's going to be positive. So in the top, we get, what is that, 18, negative 18 over negative 5. So it's going to be positive 18 over positive 5. 18 over 5 is our slope. X plus b equals y. Now let's plug in an x and a y. I'm going to choose these smallest numbers. I think that makes it easier when you choose the smallest. So we have 36, we got 22, and 18 over 5 times that plus b. I'm going to change this to decimal form. So 18 divided by 5 actually is 3.6. So I do 3.6 times 22. I think this is going to be a little bit easier for us. Okay, just like we did last time. So 3.6 times 22 gives me 79.2 equals 36. Just keeping everything the same. Then I'm going to subtract from both sides, negative 79.2. Kind of ran out of room there. Hopefully you see what I'm doing. So we have negative 43.2 equals b. Now we have our equation. Let me change it to red. We have y equals 18 over 5 x minus 43.2. Now we need to plug in, we're trying to find the x-intercept, so we need to plug in 0 for y. So we're going to plug in 0 for y. We have 18 over 5. Oh, I want to change that to decimal. Didn't we get 3.6 for that? Yes, we did. So let me change that to 3.6. 3.6. So we have 3.6. And we're putting in 0 for y, and we're trying to find x. There we go. Minus 43.2. We're going to add 43.2. This is a doozy of a problem. So we have 43.2 equals 3.6x. And we just divide. So we divide by 3.6. What do you know? We get 12 equals x. And it's positive 12. So our x-intercept is positive 12. We're going to go 12, comma, 0. Check it. And there we go. So a little bit of a tougher Khan Academy. I hope this was helpful. Thanks so much for watching. If you need something done in terms of a video or worksheet, be sure to let me know. I have tons of other playlists and videos. Make sure to search those up if you need to. And I look forward to seeing you next time right here on West Explains Best.